everybody. I hope everybody is doing well. My name is Chef Rob. Welcome. We are upon pumpkin season and coming into Thanksgiving soon. This is really good for Thanksgiving. It is a harvest pumpkin soup with a cranberry and apple relish that you put on top of the soup. So please follow me along, make this for your friends and family, and enjoy it. So the first thing I want to do is just put in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons of butter, and then we're going to put in 1 onion. We're going to chop that up small, put that in there, let that start melting. And 1 small to 1 medium yellow onion would be perfect for this. Okay, chop it on the smaller side. Of course, if you like it chunky, there's nothing wrong with it being chunky. And then we're going to put in 2 stalks of celery, and we're going to chop that small as well. Okay, so I go almost all the way through, and then I just turn it right here, and then just kind of give it a nice chop. And I can hear my butter starting to melt, the oil starting to sizzle a little bit. I don't want to brown it, I don't want it to burn, but I'm going to be getting this in there in 1 second. Okay, and then I'll come back and I will do my celery. You always want to get something in that pot. We're going to cook the vegetables for about 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, that in there. Now, let's do our celery. This is a really good fall soup. I have done this many times in person. Have not done this one virtually yet. This is our first one doing it on the YouTube. And now we're just going to give this a nice cut, just like this. Wash it really good. Only wash the celery when you are about to use it, not when you get home from the supermarket, just when you're about to use it. And whatever you're not going to use, wrap in some aluminum foil and it will stay fresh for about a month. It will look like you just bought it from the supermarket if you keep it in aluminum foil. And now we're going to take our celery, add that in here, like that. Going to stir this around. Going to add in a little bit of kosher salt and some black pepper. Just a pinch of each. The salt will make the vegetables sweat. A couple grinds of the pepper. Let that cook. We're going to put in 1 bay leaf. Make sure you take the bay leaf out before you go to enjoy the soup. So we're going to just let this cook for 5 to 6 minutes. We just want to get everything nice and soft. And then we're going to add in some flour and some seasoning. Okay, this is about 6 minutes. The vegetables are nice and tender. It has a little crunch to it still, but a little softness as well. 3 tablespoons of flour. What this will actually do is make it kind of form a roux. A roux is like a flour butter mixture, just to kind of thicken up the soup a bit. So we just add that in here. And now we're going to put in the pumpkin. We're using the canned pumpkin. Use the solid or the pureed, but not the pumpkin pie filling. So you want 1 28-ounce can of the pumpkin. As soon as you put that in there, make sure that you are ready with your 6 cups of chicken broth. Okay. And we're also going to add in 1 teaspoon of the ground cinnamon. Cinnamon and pumpkin just go really well together. Hit that right in there. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to simmer this for about 10 minutes. It's going to start to get really nice and thick. And at the very end we will add some cream into this. So while this is cooking for the 10 minutes, we're going to work on our cranberry apple relish. And this way it will be ready to go as soon as we're done here. While the soup is cooking, let's make our apple cranberry relish. You can use whatever apples you really like. You can use Granny Smith. If you're using the Granny Smith, peel them just because the skin is a little on the tougher side. If you're using something like the Honey Crisp, that is fine. I'm going to use the Honey Crisp, and you can just dice these into small pieces. This makes a really nice topping right on top of this pumpkin soup. If you wanted to switch the pumpkin soup to make it a butternut squash soup or a sweet potato soup because you're not a pumpkin fan, this will work. This little relish right here that I am making to put on top of the pumpkin soup, this is something perfect that you could take and use instead of a cranberry sauce on Thanksgiving Day. This is really nice right next to the turkey. Everybody, pretty much everybody I know, loves their pumpkin. Pumpkin seems to start right the day after Labor Day and goes right through the end of November. And then it seems to just turn off. I could eat it all year long, but that's the way it seems to go. So this is a pretty large apple, this Honey Crisp here. So you can use one small to medium or one very large apple. Okay, we're going to just take this, put this right into this bowl right here. I'm going to put in 1/4 of a red onion. Make sure it's always nice and solid all the way through. So this is a very small one, so I won't need the whole half of it. So I will use almost 1/4, maybe a little bit more, just because it's a very small red onion. Okay. And it depends if you're an onion fan or not. So put that in there. Just kind of make sure that they're all nice and separated. You don't want one big piece of onion. Okay, so I'm going to leave a little of that on the side. I want 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. To get the most out of the lemon, always take the lemon out of the refrigerator maybe about 1 hour ahead of time and bring it to room temperature. Just squeezing it right through my fingers so this way it catches any of the pits. And the other half. So this is about 2 tablespoons. You can always taste it because you can always adjust it. You can always add more if you want. Okay. Just going back to the soup here a second. Heating up nicely. You can see the flour that I added to it makes it a little bit thicker, but we're still going to add that cream, and we can always adjust it with a little bit more chicken broth or even a little water. If you think it's a little too salty, just add the water then. Okay, I'm going to put in some dried cranberries. I'm putting in about 1/2 cup. And what I'm going to do is just kind of put them on this cutting board right here. And I'm just going to give it a chop. You can buy dried cranberries in the produce section. Usually the supermarkets kind of put them into their own little containers. I always get the questions, can we use the craisins? And you certainly can, but just know that the craisins have more sugar and they are filled with like a grape juice, okay? Okay, and by chopping these, kind of goes throughout this relish really nicely. I like to just put just a little hint of chili powder, so about 1/2 teaspoon in there. Okay, so just kind of a pinch. I want 1/2 teaspoon of the ground cinnamon. I'm going to add that right in there. And 2 teaspoons of the honey. The honey actually gives it a nice glaze to it. I'm just going to take this off here. Just like that. And then of course you can always adjust it if you want a little bit more. Certainly can do that. We're just going to mix all this apples, cranberries, onions, and spices all together. Again, this is going to be really good on the side of a turkey, but if you make the pumpkin soup for Thanksgiving, just put this right on top and it'll be really, really good. Okay, let's go back to our pumpkin soup. I'm just going to add in 2 cups of heavy cream. I do always get the question, can you use milk or half and half to make it a little less calories, anything like that? And of course you can. The heavy cream is going to give it that real nice richness. Okay, so try it with the heavy cream if you can. 2 cups, and slowly pour it in so that way you kind of get that right consistency. And if it still seems thick, that's when you would change it with the water or a little bit of chicken broth. And I'm just going to add in just about a half teaspoon of the ground nutmeg. Let's add that right in here. We're going to mix this well. I'm going to take my whisk and just kind of whisk all these flavors all together really, really well. And this will be done in just a few minutes. It only takes about 10 minutes to cook this soup. That's why when you're cooking this, that's when you make your relish. Okay. Our pumpkin soup is all finished, all with these good spices in here. The celery, the onions. Now what I'm going to do is just ladle this into the bowls. Typically this will serve about 6 to 8 bowls. Okay, depending on the size of your bowl. If you can see the richness in it, that's where the heavy cream really helps. Just taste it for your seasoning because everybody is a little different. Some people like a little more cinnamon, a little more sweetness, some more a little bit of chicken broth. So it's to your taste. And now we just take some of this apple cranberry relish, put it right on top right here. Make sure you save enough for the other bowls, but this is the way it should look. So I hope you will make this during pumpkin season, and I hope you make this definitely for Thanksgiving Day. Your family and friends will love it. Have a great day. Goodbye,